Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 61 of the Runnin the Paint podcast. I'm Miles. I'm here with the full group, Nick, Joey, and Jackson. Guys, how are all y'all doing today?
This is so awesome to have the full crew back together. I'm so happy right now.
What's up,
Can
everybody? Yeah, definitely good to see your
What's up,
guys'
brothers?
faces.
What's up,
Missed you.
What's
brothers?
up, brothers?
Wait, guys, can we say that now? Guys, I just realized we're 8 episodes away, man.
And if you haven't, I know nobody has seen Jackson in a hot minute, but the maturity is still at an all-time low.
Nah, we up.
All-time low. Great band.
We up.
Great band.
Absolutely. Well, this is a pretty big part of the summer right now, with where we had a little bit of a period with not much going on, but that's about to change because starting tonight, as we release this episode, the NBA 2K25 Summer League begins in Las Vegas. We've had the California Classic and a little Utah League, but now the real thing starts with
Utah League.
all 30 teams. This is the schedule from Friday to Monday with all the ESPN games. On Saturday night, there's another game at 11, the Suns and the Warriors. No one probably really cares about that game, but these are
Wait,
all
I
the
forgot. Which one of our
marquee.
teams won it last year? Was it?
The Cleveland Cavaliers. Oh, that's right. It was the Rockets and the Cavs in the championship game. but the
Cavs won, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to
But
the
these
Cavs.
are the headline games. But I guess for all you guys, what is sort of game or a player or a team that you guys are really looking forward to see play? Maybe besides your own favorite, because obviously as Cavs fans, we're excited to see
Okay.
our Cavs. Reed
Okay.
Shepherd's an exciting pick for the Rockets. Jackson, we'll start with you. Who are you looking forward to seeing in the summer league?
Okay. It's a Lakers player, but it's not one of the two you might think about. It is, what's the name? Blake Hinson. He's their undrafted rookie. This guy is weird, but he's a sniper. He shot 42% in college from behind the arc, but he shot 44% from behind the arc on guarded 3-point shots.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah,
Hey.
dead eye. Dead
So
eye
I'm
for
watching
sure. You
'cause-
should watch some Duke highlights from this year because he willed them to a win in Cameron Indoor in like mid-April, and it was
Mhm.
an insane game to
And
watch.
everyone's talking about Connect.
Not mid-April.
And obviously, the other guy. I don't want to. Bronny. But, dude, the Lakers have needed a shooter, and Connect is obviously their front runner to be the guy. But, dude, if he can make those contested shots in the NBA, look out, because he could be the perfect piece for that Laker team. Especially because they need wings. I mean, losing Darvin Ham's best friend, Torian Prince.
So
True.
that dude's a bit of a hothead, Henson. Like he's definitely not afraid to show his emotion on the court.
Neither is
I mean,
Grayson Allen.
That's just something to watch out for.
He did
Yeah.
get a two-way contract with the Lakers, so he will have a chance. He is on a two-way deal with LA, so that is an interesting thing. I think the Lakers will be fun to watch in summer league. Of course, Bronny James, everyone's going to be watching him, but Dalton Connect has looked very, very solid in the
He's
California
looked great.
Classic. Yeah, he's really looked great. Of course, they have players. I mentioned this at the end of last episode, how one of my favorite things of summer league every year is seeing those second year players that have already played a year and they just come in and they look like they've learned a whole lot and now they're really pros. Like on the Lakers, you've got guys like Maxwell Lewis, Colin Castleton, who are on the end of the Lakers bench. They come in here and they look like the best players because they've already been a year in the league. So I think that's always a fun thing. Joey, how about you? What's a team that you're looking forward to watching or a player?
Personally, because I was watching a little bit of the California Classic. The Memphis Grizzlies. Zach Edey, after one game, he went to the best odds to have win Rookie of the Year.
I can't say much with this rookie class, dude.
Like Zach Edey is the perfect fit for this Memphis team, and I honestly just want to watch him. Like he is going to be so good.
I already know Reed Shepherd's not winning it because he's not going to be a starter like some of these other guys like Sar and.
He's also on the Rockets, so.
Yeah, I mean he's going to be behind Fred VanVleet and.
They're on it. The Rockets are a deep
Jalen
team.
Green.
The Rockets are a pretty deep team.
Yeah, I mean, but I want to say one more thing. It pertains to my team in summer league, but I'm excited to see how Cam Whitmore does as a number one option on a team. Kind of taking most of the shots because I think like if Jalen Green doesn't progress a lot this year, like become like a 23 plus point per game scorer, 23 to 25, I think it's going to be hard for me to see him as a number one option. And I think Cam Whitmore in the future could, like I've told Miles many times, he reminds me like to a T of Anthony Edwards. The way he dribbles, the way he shoots, I could see him becoming the Rockets' number one option eventually. Him and Şengün being kind of like a 1-2 punch. Just depending on how everything goes.
Yeah, for sure. Nick, how about you?
Well, my guy is actually a guy that I was kind of slept on when I made my mock draft video, and it's Kel'el Ware from the Miami Heat. He kind of slipped all the way down to 15, and it was even a bit of a question mark pick when he was selected there at 15. But, I mean, this is a 7-foot dude who had 26 and 11 in one of his first California Classic games and just looked like an oversized, like, I don't want to say Kevin Durant, but, bro, I mean, he was over 5 from three-point range, so still going to have to work out the kinks there, but definitely a lot of upside that I really didn't see coming, and I'm going to be watching him.
And he's in the Heat culture system, so he's automatically got, like, a good shot to develop well because they're so good at developing people.
Yeah, I was gonna say him. I've got a couple other teams and players that I'm kind of interested in. First, I'm very intrigued with the Minnesota Timberwolves after their first round last year or this past draft. With them getting Rob Dillingham to potentially fill in the point guard position when Mike Conley's done. I'm excited to see how he can run an offense in his first summer league. And in our draft preview episode, I asked you guys who the biggest steal could be, and you guys said Terrence Shannon Jr. So I'm excited to see what he's really about. I was a big fan of watching him during some of those highlights.
Oh, he is a guy that took at least me by storm in March Madness. Like, man was like the must-watch player for me in the tournament. I can't wait to see him. Another guy I can't wait to see is Stephon Castle for the Spurs.
Yep.
I want to see what he brings to the table because obviously the Spurs just got Chris Paul, but I want to see where his baseline is because Chris Paul is gonna teach him so much. So even if his like playmaking and passing isn't crazy, that's something Chris Paul can teach him this year. Like, I'm not worried about that. I want to see the other parts of his game, his defense, his attacking. And I've already seen some highlights of him just driving down the hole and slamming it home. So I'm very excited.
Do you guys think Cooper Flagg will participate in the Summer League next year?
I think so. Is Ray Sashek not?
He'll play one game like Zion did.
No, he's better than Zion.
Well, yeah, but
oh wow.
I don't care. Zion can't stay on the court for more than 30 games a year.
Well, I'm just at the time. Remember how hyped up Zion was. That would still to me, that's one of the most hyped up prospects I've ever seen.
I ain't seen a video of Cooper Flagg getting beat by a short kid in high school. What happened to Zion?
All I know is Zion. I was at that summer league game where Zion first played, and after he was playing, when we got hurt, we left, and there was an earthquake. I'm saying Zion caused an earthquake.
Facts, dude. That had to be it.
Dude, that was the game where he ripped Kevin Knox, and then that was crazy.
Kevin Knox was crazy. The Golden State Warriors G League Summer League team yesterday.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Everyone was like, "No way, Kevin Knox is still playing." I'm like, "Dude, he's not even that old."
There was a player. I think they were asking some summer league players or maybe some rookies. They were doing a thing where they were like asking them what their most recent Google search was. And for one of them, it was, what year was Kevin Knox drafted in the NBA? Because he's still in the Summer League 6 years later.
Can we make a prediction who we think's going to win the Summer League this year?
Ooh.
See, that's always tough to tell. It's
Jazz, dude. Keontae's amazing. Filipowski. Weird situation with Filipowski, dude. Have you guys seen that?
Yes.
Dude,
I saw Jack Kolke completely school him. That's what I saw.
Dude,
Oh,
Jack
that was-
Gordy's a dog.
I want him to make that OKC like at least a two-way contract so bad.
Dude, they can get rid of
That'd be
Isaiah
such a
Joe now.
steal.
They just got their Isaiah Joe. They got their Isaiah Joe replacement if they need to. Like they can just have two Isaiah Joes running out there. That'd be so unstoppable.
You guys
And
know I'm
Jack-
going with the Grizzlies.
Oh, you are going with the Grizzlies. Okay.
I
Yeah,
also
Pippen Jr.
am.
is on their
I-
team, right?
they gotta-
Like, he can play for their summer league team. Because that's Scottie Pippen Jr. That's who he plays for.
Oh, that is true. That's a lot of these players on the Grizzlies played throughout the season because they had so many injuries.
But I like the Jazz too. They got Kenny Lofton Jr.
Right.
Dude, Utah,
Collier
during
was
some of
such
their
a-
summer league games, like everyone who's playing for the Jazz is like on their actual roster, so it does give them a
Exactly.
decent shot.
I mean, I think the Jazz had a great draft. Like I know I wasn't here for like the post draft episode, so I'm not gonna like go too crazy. But like the Jazz had a good draft. We already mentioned Minnesota, but
Washington's another team that has a lot of players that are on their actual roster.
Dude. yeah.
Houston and Cleveland, after making the championship game last year, I think they could have similar results this year because both teams, I mean, they have players that are experienced
is
at
Reed
least in the
playing?
summer league. Reed Shepard, I mean, I'm sure for all these super top picks, they're going to play in 2 games probably to see how it goes, and then they'll probably sit out the rest of summer league. Like when you
After
I'm
the first
looking-
3 he makes, I hope they give him the key to the city. I love Reed.
This is okay, so guys, this is a quick on the fly trivia question.
I got you.
I just found the top 10 as Nick leaves us. Nick will be back. The top 10 leading scorers in summer league history as far as points per game.
All right, hear me out. Hear me out.
It's just an interesting list.
LeBron's up there, right? He had.
LeBron James is not on the list.
Well, shoot. Okay.
Lonzo
That's the
Ball?
Lonzo Ball
Ball.
is not on the list.
What's-
I will. This is a very tricky list. We won't
is
go
this in a
too long
singu-
on
Is
this.
this in a singular summer league?
No, this is in their careers.
Give me Kevin Knox, man.
Kevin Knox, no. Where is Kevin
Um,
Knox on this list? Did he even play that? He didn't even play that much.
All right, give us a hint.
Okay, number one
Willie Clarkstein.
on the list played in 1 game. He scored 42 points in this summer league game, and
it can be 1 game too. Oh shoot.
yes, and in the NBA, he only averaged over 6 points 1 time. So it shows it doesn't really matter what you do in summer. You guys won't get it. Marcus Banks.
I was gonna get that, dude.
Wait, oh yeah.
Is Dame on the list?
Damian Lillard is number 4 on the list.
Yeah.
Number 4 on the list. Number 2 is an all-star caliber player, one of the top players at his position. Just recently re-signed with his current team.
Tyrese Maxey?
Tyrese Maxey's number 5 on the list at 26 points per game.
Nice, Joey.
And you said number 2 is the All Star.
Number 2 re-signed with his team this summer.
Cade.
LeBron.
Cade Cunningham, no. LeBron, no.
Franz Wagner.
Franz Wagner, no.
No,
Cade got a bag, dude.
he did.
He really did.
Wait.
Here,
Let's think.
we'll go. Do you want to guess this?
I'm gonna think.
Oh gosh.
Top
An all-star
players-
who re-signed with his team this summer.
An All-Star caliber or All-Star?
All-star. He's one of the best players at his position. Maybe the best player at his position, you could argue.
It's not Jokic. It's not that idiot Embiid.
Just tell us.
Oh, it's
Donovan
Donovan.
Donovan
Yeah, it's
Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell, the
Donnie.
second leading summer league scorer in history at 28 points per game
Terrible
on
guy.
25 shot attempts. He just came in and was just chucking away.
He had the Jokic
number-
Not good enough.
mentality.
Number
To get
3
picked
is
in the
Cam
other day.
Thomas. Makes a lot of
LeBron-
sense for this type of thing.
LeBron is 6 misses away, by the way, from becoming the all-time miss leader
Yeah, over Kobe.
with 8,000 more minutes played than Kobe.
Yeah, it's insane. Number 6 on the list is Lou Williams, then Kawhi Leonard. Then these 3 guys, Seth Curry, Jordan McRae
Jordan McRae is the GOAT.
from the Cavs, and Nikhil Alexander-Walker. Josh Shelby barely making the top 10. Those are summer league legends.
Jordan
Don't-
McRae, Cavs legend.
Dude, don't
Cavs
sleep
champion.
on. I love Nikhil Alexander-Walker. Shea's cousin, man.
Cavs champion. Man, Chris Dunn is up here on the list. Some of these names are just great. Shout out to Chris Dunn. Actually, signed with the Clippers. That's a solid signing.
No,
That is a good signing.
For them. But you guys have any other things that you're really looking forward to here in the summer league as far as potential games to watch out for? I'll put up the schedule here for over the weekend. Is there a certain matchup you guys are really looking forward to?
I mean, Rockets Wizards. Second pick.
Yeah,
I was also gonna pick that day, the game right after it, Spurs Hawks.
Dude, the Bulls versus the Warriors. The Warriors summer league team is good, aren't they? They got Pods and Trace Jack. Oh no, Trace Jackson's on the select team, isn't he? So
no, Pajemski was, but I think he is also on the summer league. I mean, they're both in Vegas, anyways.
Oh, gotcha. And then I mean, Matas Puzuelas. I think that's a sneaky pick that they made. Stephon Castle versus Donovan Clingan, the UConn matchup.
Ooh, yeah, that would be pretty fun.
And then Reese Shea versus Stephon Castle and I guess I was gonna say who else did the Spurs draft, but they drafted Rob Dillingham and traded him.
Reese Shea versus Sarr, top 2 picks on the first day at 9:30. That'll be pretty fun to watch those.
Oh yeah,
two at it. Donovan Clingan for the Blazers. There are definitely some fun ones in here. Even that first one on Friday, Pelicans Timberwolves too, with Misi versus Dillingham. I mean, those two competitive teams.
Daniels.
I think there's 76 games over the 11-day tournament.
Correct.
Can Embiid just go play in summer league instead of making us watch him in Olympic play? He sucks, dude.
Oh my gosh.
All I'll say about summer league, me and my dad went to Vegas 2 years in a row to watch it. Man, that is such a fun time. Highly recommend anybody doing it. I would love to go back. I would love to bring the crew there. Good. That is such a fun time. Besides just Vegas itself, summer league is just super fun.
One day we'll all do it together. One day, eventually.
Yeah, you're cooked. Joey's paying for it. He just said.
What?
All I know is I got on the Starters broadcast when I was there. They put me like center screen because it was my birthday.
Shout out to the Starters, man. Well, tonight, I guess, as we're releasing this, before those last 2 summer league games occur on ESPN, the NBA in-season tournament, it will be the group draw. If you guys remember, they do the group drawing for each of the 3 groups of each conference right before the summer league. So how that works is that you break it up into 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 3 team of the group from the last year's standings, and you make what?
Can we see the graphic for it?
Yes, we can see the graphics. So I have the standings here to give our hopes of what we want the groups to be. Here are the Eastern Conference standings. We'll start here first. So you see how it's kind of broken up: 1 through 3, 4 through 6. One team in each column will be in the group. The Celtics and Bucks cannot be in the same group. So what are your guys' kind of hopes for this tournament? Because it really was fun last year. We really didn't know a whole lot to expect going in, it being the first season, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, last year it was the Pacers that ended up making it up out of the Eastern Conference to go to the championship game. But what are some teams that you hope to see in the same group?
My dream group for at least one of them that I'm just sticking out to me is Knicks, Pacers, Hawks, Pistons, and probably the Sixers. Crazy point guard matchup, just crazy.
I was thinking that. I was thinking like literally that to a T. Besides, I'd switch the Hawks and the Nets because just Mikal Bridges versus the
a crappy GFF? No, I want to see Trae Young and the number 1 pick go at him.
No, he meant New York versus Mikal.
Mikal's in New York though.
Yeah.
So why?
New York. You could have that little rivalry.
I'm sorry, Brooklyn versus Mikal.
Yeah, Brooklyn.
That
would definitely be fun.
I think Hawks is a good idea too, but I think I don't know. Yeah, I'd go Knicks, Cavs, Sixers, Nets, and Pistons because I think the Pistons are the best team in that group. You could argue the Hornets. And
That's
then
not a bad. I like that honestly. Cavs,
yeah.
Knicks, Heat. What'd you say? Say Hawks, Pistons.
yeah, and then I'd go Celtics, Pacers, um, Heat. Wait, did I? Yeah, because I said Sixers for the other one. So Heat, and then Hawks and Hornets, and then I'd go Bucks, Magic, Bulls, Raptors, and Wizards. Just because there's
Yeah.
got to be one easy one.
Honestly, I think my biggest hope for this, as far as teams getting in the same group, I want the Celtics and 76ers to be in the same group. The
Yes.
two of the maybe the two best teams in the East, you could argue, because there's so much parity for that number 2 spot. Celtics and Sixers being there would be awesome. I think that then you could play with the Magic being in there. I think that would be a fun top 3: Celtics, Sixers, Magic. That'd be a lot of fun. Nick, is there any teams that you hope to see play each other?
The one team that's sticking out to me is Charlotte. And last year, I compared Charlotte to Indiana, and before on the pod, I'm going to do it again. Last year, we saw the 11 seed from the previous year in Indiana make it all the way to the finals. I'm not saying Charlotte has the capability to do that, but I do think that they can maybe get 2 wins in a group, and that might put some pressure on the other teams in their group.
Like the Rockets did last year.
Yeah, that is true. The Rockets were very, very, very close. So I guess
I'd
now
like
let's
to see-
shift over. Or no, go ahead, Nick.
I'd like to see Charlotte get a good draw.
I
That's
agree.
A competitive draw, I think.
Give me the Bucks, the Cavs, the Bulls, and the Raptors.
Why are the Cavs in that bad group?
Because I think the Cavs are the worst team in that 4, 5, 6 spot.
All right, bro.
You can make the case. I mean, like I said, there's so much parity from honestly like 2 through 7, 8. Any team could kind of finish in that area.
Yeah.
So now let's shift over to the Western Conference, where things I think are definitely crazier as far as potential matchups, and it's all because of that one team in the top right corner, this Memphis Grizzly Bear, as the 13th seed. Them being in the bottom 3 is going to make whichever group they end up in, it's going to make it incredible.
Dude, even the Spurs though, like the Spurs aren't bad either.
No,
Spurs made
for
some
sure.
great
I
moves
think
offseason.
Yeah, I think that whichever group that Utah is in will be the same group as the Grizzlies. I think that will even itself out.
Yeah.
Facts, dude.
Memphis.
Or the Suns, dude. The Suns suck.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing in those top things, seeing some playoff rematches in the tournament with the Thunder and the Mavericks, Timberwolves Suns. Because I know Timberwolves Suns was very, very disappointing.
Good,
As far as it was just not, was not competitive. It was nowhere close to what most of us thought was going to happen. I think that if the Suns would love to have their redemption in this in-season tournament.
Yeah, and I think Denver Lakers also. I mean,
Denver. So for that group, I had Denver, Clippers, Lakers. You could have both LA teams in there. It gives a nice, because I was also thinking like
easier. And then
NBA.
Warriors too.
Oh yeah, get the Warriors to just give all the high ratings just from this one group by putting the Lakers, Clippers.
Dude, I don't know though.
Warriors.
After Team USA, the Timberwolves could be a high rating team. Just from Ant alone, dude.
Definitely potential for that.
What do you think? What do you think about this group? Nuggets, Suns, Lakers, Warriors, and Spurs.
Ooh, I would like
literally, that's just give all the publicity.
Chris Paul, Steph Curry, LeBron, KD, and Jokic.
Dang.
Bro said Chris Paul like Vic ain't there.
Well, come on. This is like the last time we're ever going to see KD, LeBron, Steph, and Chris Paul probably all play against each other.
Is Chris Paul even going to be able to get down the court? Let's be honest.
Come on.
Oh, come on, man. He's
an old soul. Wait, why'd you take it off? We have more to talk about.
Okay. You got more you want to say, Jackson?
Yes. Dude, I don't know what it is, but like, I want the Nuggets to be in the same like group as the Rockets. Just because every time, like, you got Jokic versus baby Jokic. And I think, I don't know, every matchup they had last year was a good, like, game. I don't know, like, if that's me being biased, but, like, every time I watched the Nuggets and the Rockets, it was always a tough game. I always felt like the Rockets were playing some of their best basketball. Even if they didn't win, they just looked good.
It was the same with them. It was the same with them with the Rockets against the Lakers too. They had some really close
Well,
games
that's
too.
because Dylan gets in LeBron's head because LeBron's a sissy.
Gosh, we'll get to Team USA next.
Jeez.
I think in that it would be fun if we had like Denver, Sacramento, Houston, San Antonio, 4 teams where they're basically led by centers. As far as
What
the
about
centers
Derek
running their
Lively? He has
offense.
feelings too, man.
That's the thing. 4, 5, 6. It's kind of there. You don't really
Yeah,
get
way
much.
to
For
ruin
it.
the fun. 4, 5, 6. Jeez.
I know with no big men, but like who's the best big men in 4, 5, 6?
KD
Derek
6'11".
Lively.
KD's
Zizic.
like 12 foot.
Or Zubac. Sorry, Zubac.
Shout out Ante Zizic, who was actually on that top 10 scoring list.
Was he really?
Bro,
He
no
was
way.
like, where was he on this list? He was
No way,
like
bro. We're talking
number.
about Ante Zizic right now. That's nuts.
I got a picture with him. Me and him were at the same bar, like pre-gaming before the Cleveland Browns game, and he was on the rooftop bar. And I got a picture with him.
What?
I have a picture with him serving me ice cream. Just random.
Duality of man. One of us gets a picture of him doing serving you ice cream. One of us drinking with him.
Correct. Well,
That's just
all right, so-
everywhere besides on the court.
So we have been talking about Las Vegas. Let's keep it in Las Vegas, where Team USA has been starting to practice, where they just had their first
Ant-Man.
exhibition game against Team Canada. It's just so much fun to have this type of basketball back in our lives after about a month of nothingness, really.
Facts.
U.S. versus Canada. Do you guys have any thoughts from watching this game? I mean, it is just an exhibition game, but there was a lot of star power on both sides.
Yeah, no
Dude.
one's stopping the Americans.
It's just this is the greatest basketball team ever assembled. I think.
Yeah.
Oh.
Go.
Oh.
Argue with a brick wall, dude.
Oh.
See, it is an interesting conversation. I mean, a lot of
The
these
dream
guys
team
are,
is losing. The dream team is getting smacked if they play this current.
Did I say the dream team?
All right, who are you saying then?
The Redeem team, the 2008 team. Are
No.
you kidding me?
Look, bro.
Are you
They had-
kidding me?
No.
LeBron would definitely rather play with Steph.
Then Kobe?
Yes, dude.
that's
you're telling me he
that
doesn't
is a
wanna
good
play with
argument.
6'7" Bam Adebayo? Come on.
Versus prime Dwight Howard that made it to the finals. Yeah,
I take
okay.
KD over prime Dwight Howard. I don't care, bro.
Never in
Okay.
a million years.
Who was on this 2012 team? We've got Tyson Chandler.
No,
Trevor
2008. 2008.
I
Oh,
can already tell
2008.
you. No, I can already tell you most of the people. It was Michael Redd, Buns. Give me.
Why are you
Tayshaun
starting with the end of the bench players?
Because I can. Michael
No,
Redd.
no.
Let me see how many I can get. Let me see how many
Okay.
I can get. Trust. Michael Redd,
Okay.
Tayshaun Prince, Jason
Okay.
Kidd, Dwayne Wade, LeBron, Melo, Kobe.
Dude. Olympics Mello is a different beast.
How many more do I have to go?
I think you have 7.
Chris
Timmy D
Paul,
was on that
D-Wade,
team, right?
Chris
Was
Bosh.
No.
Tim on that team?
No.
Bosh was, you're right.
Bosh, yes.
That's 8.
I believe so.
The coach was Coach K.
2,
Right?
3, 4. I think you're missing 4 players.
4.
One of them we just talked about.
Oh, did we? Kevin Durant.
No, you were just being mean to this one player.
You were just saying you would take Bam over him.
Wait, what? Wait. Oh, yeah, Dwight Howard, bro.
Oh, well, that's not even what I was thinking. You were being mean to another player that you were just talking about.
Wait, who did I say would take Bam over?
Well, no, you were being pretty mean to Chris Paul.
Oh,
Yeah.
you were.
Dogs.
Chris
Dude.
Paul, and then 2 former Cleveland Cavaliers.
I know
Right.
one of them. I know one of them.
Not best known for their Cavs tenure.
No,
D.
best known
Wade.
for his Jazz and Nets days.
Not Dwayne Wade. Yeah,
Oh,
Carlos
Darren Williams, dude.
There we go.
Boozer and Darren Williams.
Both
Yeah.
known for their Jazz days.
Yeah,
Carlos
that is
Boozer
actually
because-
crazy.
I know
Yeah,
Carlos Boozer from the
2008.
Redeem Team documentary, man. Real inspirational stuff.
Yeah, man, this team was young too.
That's
Like,
what
and
I'm
this
saying. That team in their like honestly, I'm taking LeBron in that time over LeBron now. Like, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
Cool. I'm taking.
That's all you have to say.
I'm taking.
I
Ant
mean,
over
that's the
Kobe.
thing. I mean, when you look at this roster from 2008, you've got 23-year-old LeBron James, 24-year-old Darren Williams at the peak of his power,
22-year-old Ant. That's all I gotta
23-year-old
say.
Chris Paul, 24-year-old Chris Bosh, 22-year-old Dwight
Mid.
Howard. Like, this is
Mid.
insane.
Mid.
Like, there was only one player that was over 30, and it was Jason Kidd.
And
Like,
Jason Kidd won a championship after like 4 years later.
All mid, dude. All
that's
mid.
some impressive stuff there. But now, let's see. Did
22-year-old
anyone
Ant.
say, is anyone going with the dream team?
Now
No,
I'll take
absolutely
Redeem Team.
not.
Redeem Team is like the best team ever.
No.
David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Larry Bird, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, Clyde Drexler, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Charles Barkley,
Crap.
Magic Johnson. Dude,
I
that's
dare John Stockton. And Sean
Don't forget Christian Leitner.
yeah. Christian Leitner,
I
Clyde
dare
Drexler,
John
Chris
Stockton,
Mullen.
that stupid plumber, to try and guard Steph Curry or Ant Edwards.
Do you guys know who the leading scorer on the Dream Team was that year?
It was Barkley.
Yep.
Yeah,
The round mound of rebound.
Why do I know that off the top of my head? Wait.
that is actually something else. But do you guys have any thoughts on Team USA? I guess for their schedule for the rest of their showcase, they are going to Abu Dhabi to play Team Australia on July 15th, then Serbia.
Delhi's gonna cook against LeBron.
No, Patty Mills is gonna cook. Oh, dude,
Steph Curry's gonna run them both off the court.
Patty Mills. I'm with you,
Steph
Miles.
Curry has never seen Patty Mills in a Boomers jersey before. We'll have to wait and see. They might be the same player. Then after their stint in Abu Dhabi, they're going to London. They're going to London to play South Sudan on July 20th, and then Germany on July 22nd, and then the Paris Olympic Games will begin.
Who plays for South Sudan?
Great question, Jackson. Let's find out. Let's find out. This is super exciting though, because even with like Team USA, I mean, they are incredible. There are a lot of other teams out there that are very solid. Like that Canada team that they just recently played was very solid. France with Rudy and Wemby is going to be a beast defensively.
I mean, Giannis is going to be there.
We got Bam. I don't care. We got Bam.
Spain will be there. They always have a good team.
Jeez.
And Germany won the FIBA Cup last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they were
the Wagner twins, Schroeder, Tice is on that team.
Japan.
Yeah.
Japan has Rui Hachimura and the dude from Indiana, Tamanga.
Yuta Watanabe too. Don't you dare.
Okay, Yuta.
Okay, Yuta, man.
Dude, yeah, Yuta Watanabe. And there's a guy named Josh on the Japan team, like a white dude named Josh.
Watanabe is not guarding Anthony Edwards. I don't want to hear it.
Dude, if only the Bahamas made it. Clay and Ayton and Heald.
Yeah.
And Eric Gordon.
Wait, did Philippines make it?
I don't think so. I really don't know who's,
because they got Jordan Clarkson and he always goes off for Philippines.
That's right.
What?
So you guys were asking who's on this South Sudan roster. I think the only NBA players on this roster that played in the NBA were Carlik Jones, Mangok Mathiang,
USA's cooked, bro.
Mariel Shayok,
Meryl Streep,
and Wenyen Gabriel, former Laker.
He's not Wembanyama, but I remember Wenyen Gabriel. He was kind of a beast.
He was kind of nice. He's
going to clamp up LeBron, dude. LeBron's not going to know what hit him.
Oh, yeah. He knows all LeBron's moves because he played with him. That's right.
The lay FU3, bro. Watch out. He's gonna do you think
well,
LeBron goes for that in the Olympics, man?
Oh, I guess. Okay, final thing with Team USA. So one of the players, Kawhi Leonard, him and the Clippers have decided to withdraw him from Team USA so he could put his focus on the NBA season and the Clippers and the rest of his career there. So Derek White is going to be his replacement for these games. What do you guys think about Derek White being the replacement for Kawhi Leonard?
I like it. I mean, I think he's a great option. I think it's funny that Jaylen Brown's the only one who doesn't get to go have fun now. And I think it should have been Paul George, in my opinion, but Derek White earned it. I mean, anyone who says Derek White didn't earn it is just stupid. Yeah. Derek
Yeah.
White's
He may have
beast.
earned it, but that doesn't make him automatically more deserving than some of the other guys who didn't get the
Yeah,
spot.
I'm not saying
Like,
that.
namely, Jaylen Brown,
Hmm.
the Finals MVP and the best player on the championship Celtics team, where their 3 other teammates are part of this Olympic squad.
Yeah,
But
that is
honestly,
kind of
it's a committee that picks it though, and the committee,
It's Grant Hill.
It's Grant Hill that literally picks it.
yeah, and Grant Hill no ball, dude. He knows ball.
Yeah, I think that if you're replacing Kawhi Leonard's skill set, I mean, Jaylen Brown is decent enough to try to replace it. I mean, they're both pretty similar players, but I think Derek White's a great replacement. I mean, I think they could have picked any star-ish player and it would have been fine.
I was
Replace
gonna
a
say,
Spurs legend with a Spurs legend, man.
I don't mind it. Derek White, I think he's a good fit. I think he was on the team last year for the World Cup. So like he's got the experience. He's worked with Steve Kerr. Like he'll be fine. I think he's a good pick. But I'm sorry if you're trying to replace if going from Kawhi Leonard to Derek White is such a change and shift. Usually you try to replace a player from injury with someone who's like similar to that role. And to me, like you said, it's Jaylen Brown.
It
is.
I'm thinking though, like you said, experience. I immediately thought of like a good mid-range and defensive guy. Mikal Bridges wouldn't have been a bad pick either.
No.
Talking about someone with experience, and then, I mean,
Mikal Bridges hit one of the.
Cooper Flag be crazy? Would
Yes.
Cooper Flag be crazy?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Wait,
Yes.
who?
Cooper Flag. I don't think that'd be that crazy.
Oh my goodness, what are you doing?
He's the first like guy even before college to be like going against these NBA type of guys in like a long time. So him
Probably
being
like
brought
since
up
Anthony-
to like the actual USA team before even playing a game for Duke would be wild.
That would be funny. What about like?
Didn't Anthony
honestly,
Davis do it?
No, he played his first year after Kentucky.
Oh, not even before, dude. Right. It was right.
That's what I'm saying. He hasn't even played a game for Duke
Yeah,
yet.
for college. Yeah, there's no way that you get an NBA player.
I'm thinking another guy, not like similar to Kawhi on defense, but what about like DeMar DeRozan?
I think they needed a defensive guy, and I would
I'd go
take
Kuro.
Yes.
Right.
Have you seen Dean Wade guard Giannis, dude? It's over.
Oh my goodness. Well, before we get out of here, we are going to do a segment for the very first time on this show. I think we really haven't done this that often. Called "Is This News?" I'm gonna give you guys a headline, and you guys are gonna tell me if this is actually news or not. Because a lot of news out there, it's really not actually news. So I guess even really before that, we do have the 4 most recent free agent signings since our last episode. Kyle Lowry staying with the 76ers, Paul Reed going to the Pistons, Sadiq Bey to the Wizards for 3 years, $20 million, Josh Okogie staying with the Suns for 2 years, $16 million. Any of those 4 signings that you guys want to talk about?
I think the Kyle Lowry one is a good addition for the 76ers. It's been a common theme. We're talking about, like, I've compared them to the Phoenix Suns of last year because you don't want to get 3 superstars together and have an empty rest of your roster. They've done a good job bringing guys in to fill those spots, and Kyle Lowry is another guy who fills a spot that they need. We talked last episode, me and Miles, how they really don't have a whole lot of backup. There's a lot of holes in their backup, like their 6th, 7th, 8th men off the bench. But Kyle Lowry can be that 6th, 7th, 8th guy that has experience, like was in the finals 2 years ago.
I agree. He just needs to run the show. He just needs to run the show. Like they brought in Paul George and if everyone's healthy, just pair him up with somebody, let them go to work. But like to run the offense and get them in rhythm, I agree.
I think I kind of like the Paul Reed signing for Detroit. I mean, he's a guy who can shoot the rock a little bit. So if he wants to work with Jalen Duren, if Jalen Duren develops a 3-point shot, he might actually just be like he could become one of the best centers in the NBA if he can shoot the rock.
Paul Reed. Yeah, I mean, I get he will play. I mean, there will be room for him to play. I was a little like, the Pistons, they already have Duren, they already have Stewart, who they want to try and play. But I mean, Paul Reed will be able to play.
I mean, where else could he really have gone?
Yeah, I mean, as
I
far as
mean,
the money, like 3 years,
I think-
24 million. I know. I think the Cavs would have been fun, but the Cavs are kind of in a difficult position where they can't do. I know a lot of this will be all I'll say on the Cavs sort of things with their free agency because I know a lot of Cavs fans are angry that they haven't done anything. They can't do anything until Isaac Okoro until that is figured out, until he signs a restricted offer or the Cavs are able to match it. So they can't do anything, or
Yeah.
else they'll be in the second apron, which this team cannot be in the second apron yet. That they just can't do that.
I'm thinking like maybe he could have gone to like the Wizards or something too, because Sar said he wants to play the 4, right? So they do need a center.
Hey, Valanciunas is on the Wizards.
See, I'm out of it. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Like
No, it is. Hey, no, not a lot of people probably know that. We were all in shock when that happened.
that's a
as
good.
well.
That's actually a good.
Wizards have been very active, and that's the one guy I want to talk about. Sadiq Bey, like man, that's my newsworthy one because it's not a big contract. Under 10 million for a guy a couple years ago was a major trade piece for Atlanta. I know he got injured, so that's why his contract is like this. So completely understand the less money, but for him, if he comes back from injury and plays like he did before, like when he was in Detroit. Dude, he's going to be a perfect addition for a Bilal Coulibaly, Alex Sarr, Valanciunas, like just someone to help keep them going.
Someone who can shoot the
50-point
ball,
game
at the very
scorer.
least.
Yeah, because they don't have Jordan Poole.
Stop. Don't mention that. Like I don't understand what your problem is.
I'm talking about the Wizards. I'm not like bringing the Rockets out of nowhere. I'm just talking about the Wizards.
You mentioned.
Jackson, don't even try to finagle your way out of this. It makes no sense. No, I think Sadiq to the Wizards is a fine signing. When did he? Because I know he tore his ACL late in the season.
Yeah, so he'll probably come back probably around Christmas time.
This was mid-March. He tore his ACL.
I wasn't there for the episode.
Probably not to the next year.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, Sadiq Bey, he will be a contract that will get traded near the end of it to a team that wants size and shooting.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Sorry, I wasn't here for the episode. Why did they trade Denny? Like, I really don't. I'm trying to understand it, but I just don't.
I'm pretty sure we were confused as well.
I feel like Denny is like a perfect like facilitated like point forward type player.
It would have been nice. This was the deal when it happened, where they just got Malcolm Brogdon back, the 14th pick, which was Bub Carrington, a first and 2 seconds. Maybe because I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they were thinking about getting Valanciunas at the time, because when you look at their starting 5 right now, I'm going to assume Tyus Jones is going to a different team. At least I hope he goes to a different team. But right now, it would be Brogdon, Poole, Kuzma at the 3, Sarr at the 4 because he wants to play the 4, and then Valanciunas. So then you wouldn't really have room for Denny at that point. I'm just surprised that they traded Denny before Kuzma. That made no sense to me.
That's because I feel like if you're the Wizards, I'd rather trade Kuzma because then if you trade Kuzma, you can make a starting lineup that looks like Jordan Poole at the 1, Bilal at the 2, Denny at the 3 because he can make up for not having a facilitating 1, and then Sarr and Valanciunas.
Yeah, this was the thing with Denny's contract too. Was incredible. It decreases per year. 15 this year, 14, 13. This guy's only going to be making less than 12 million in 2028. That's going to be a steal of a contract.
That's why the Wizards aren't in a place to win because they just make stupid moves like that.
They probably could have gotten a little more for Kuzma than that. Like I know they got Brogdon in 2 firsts and 2 seconds, but
definitely they could have gotten.
They probably could have traded him to not maybe to get Brogdon, but like to a team that could use him.
But they don't
as a good like 3 or 4 and get him probably a better guard and probably like 3 first-round picks.
Well, I mean, Portland's a team. Portland, they got Denny Avdia. That's great for them.
That's a great pick.
They needed a 3, so that's a team that it was a perfect fit for them. Around the league, there's not many places I think that would fit as far as him going to a winning situation. I think Portland was probably his best bet. But yeah, I was that was definitely a surprise. And
Okay,
it's mainly because
hear me out really
why
quick.
didn't they deal Kuzma instead? That really doesn't make
How
sense.
how would you guys have felt if they traded Kuzma to the Cavs for Garland and they got like like 2 future Wizards picks plus pick 14?
Washington wouldn't. Why would Washington trade picks? That wouldn't make sense.
Because they want to. I don't know.
That just wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
But I don't understand why they traded Denny. I liked Denny. I think he would have been perfect because then they wouldn't have necessarily needed to get a point guard because he can kind of be that point forward.
I think, maybe this is what we were talking about on the podcast. The Wizards, I think, fall into a category with some other teams that maybe they want to. Well, I mean, this was the first year where they really were super bad. I mean, the previous offseason, they traded Beal, Porzingis, to get worse so they could fully go into the tank. Do they think Alex Sarr could be their franchise turnaround player, or do they want to be bad for another year to try to capture the flag next season who could
I
fit
like
into
that.
that
That was
position?
clean.
You know what I mean? That I think that's maybe what they could be thinking, where we don't want to waste Denny if we are just going to be bad again. Because Denny has been there a long time. I mean, he's been there since 2020. He was a high draft pick. He could
The
go
Nets
to
have
another
their pick
situation.
next year, right? The Nets got their pick.
The Wizards picked?
No, like the Nets got their own pick back. Sorry, I'm bringing. That
Yes,
up,
the Nets got their own pick back, so
Yeah,
they'll be in the
stupid.
same.
Yeah, it's stupid. I don't know why we'd want Phoenix's pick, but
To try to trade for Kevin Durant.
yeah.
This is the first time this is the first time we've had Jackson on since that whole thing came out. That was still unbelievable. But let's move on to the next bit of news. We'll go to 4 actual headlines. First up, this is something that Nick and I were talking about a little bit in the last episode. This coming from Bleacher Report, that Pelicans forward Brandon Ingram is seeking a $208 million contract. Is this news?
No, because he doesn't deserve that.
Let's see. Joey, what do you think? I think when Nick and I were on here the last episode, we kind of agreed that last year he wasn't his best. Maybe he could prove it another year, but we were kind of.
I'm under the assumption, for me, the way I'm feeling is it's not news, but I'm the opposite. I think it's because he deserves it already. I think that was like a guarantee. To be honest, I know he didn't have that great of a year, but for me as a Cavs fan, he would be a perfect fit for us. And as like a wing kind of guy, that is an athletic wing with his height and scoring ability and athleticism. He's a good fit for almost every team out there. Every team would want him.
Did you watch him in the playoffs?
Okay, this is what I brought up about his playoffs. So
You can't box him into that.
I was about to say, did
No.
you not hear what we all said? Is that we know he didn't have a great year last year.
He was put in the torture chamber, and Luka Doncic also was kind of put in the torture chamber for Luka standards. He didn't play that great. So why is it Brandon Ingram is now some garbage player when Luka was in the same situation? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Ingram just 2 years ago, 25, 5, and 6 on nearly 50, 40, 90. He's an incredible player. And with Zion back in the mix more this season, the ball was in his hands a bit less. So that's why
here's the news headline for me.
Yeah.
And it has more to do with the rest of the Pelicans roster because I tend to agree with Joe. I mean, this is a former number 2 overall pick. He's only 26 years old. Career average is like 25 and 5. I mean, that's a max guy, I think. But you got a couple max guys already on the roster. Like, what are you going to do with CJ McCollum? That's the news.
Yeah.
Or are you going to stay with CJ and trade? I mean, one of those guys, it feels like, have to be out. Or one of those guys aren't going to get paid by the Pelicans.
Well, yeah, what's their starting lineup going to look like next year? It's going to be DeJounte at the 1 or CJ at the 1, and then whoever is
DeJounte at the 1.
Those two in the backcourt.
Yeah.
Those two in the backcourt.
Yeah, that'll just it's really going to be a positionless backcourt, I think.
The other thing we were talking about,
Ingram, Zion, and then who's their center? Yves Missi?
That's the thing. So this is where I was a bit worried with the Pelicans, where I feel like they're they don't really have many backup options. It seems to me like they are all in on Jared Allen, which makes sense. Jared Allen, we know he's a great player. They don't have a backup option, and it doesn't seem like the Cavs are going to trade any of their core four players. So if that isn't the case, you need a backup option for the Pelicans. Nick and I were talking about names like Robert Williams from the Blazers, who would be a nice fit there. Because the Blazers, of course, they already have so many bigs now with Ayton and Kling in there after drafting him, and then
But-
Vucevic to be a sort of Valanciunas replacement from Chicago.
That's a good name I like.
I don't know if the Pelicans are thinking that way, though. I feel like they're centered on Jared Allen. They don't have any backup plans if that doesn't come open for them.
Yeah, Robert Williams, that wouldn't work. You can't have him and Zion as your two front court options. Just way too injury prone, both of them. So
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a good point.
I think Vucevic is a better option, but again, he doesn't really play much defense.
No, like dropping from Allen to Williams and Vucevic, it is a big drop off, and that's why the Pelicans, I'm sure, are waiting to see if the Cavs are willing to make a move. I just don't think that that's going to happen at this point because we haven't heard any rumblings that is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So
Dude,
yeah,
if
we'll see if Ingram. We'll see if Ingram can play himself to maybe back up to that value if he can contribute to a winning team. Because even if he stays on the Pelicans, that is a great starting five with CJ, DeJounte, Brandon Ingram, Zion, whoever it is at the five. There is only one basketball, so that will be a little interesting to see how that goes. But
dude, I think they should sign Bismack Biyombo. If any team ever needs a center, that is who my suggestion will always.
Bismack is always a solid option.
They did sign Daniel Tice. Right now, he's going to be their starting five.
Dude, he never had 17 boards in a playoff game. Nah.
Dude, Bismack, he actually had like 26 boards in one game.
I know, but
that was insane. But yeah, I think regardless, the Pelicans will end up having to trade him because Herb Jones and Trey Murphy right now are coming off of your bench and they need to get paid. Well, let's see. I don't fully know their contract situation.
Herb won't get a crazy.
The other thing Miles and I were talking about last time, it might be a situation where like, hey, let BI go play and see if he can raise his trade value a little bit, and then it works out better for both of us because you'll get paid by the team that you're getting traded to because they'll want to sign you to an extension because you're playing well, and we'll get more value for you.
Yeah, that's another thing that also plays a part in this. Like the team that would get Ingram, they have to sign him to a max. They have to. And I don't know if teams are willing to do that yet. Like if he gets traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers for him to – the Cavs would be betting on him to probably be their third max player on their team. I don't know if they would be willing to do that right now. Trey Murphy is up for an extension. Herb Jones got a steal of a contract. He's on $12 million, $13 million, $14 million the next 3 years. So Trey Murphy is it's really if they want to pay Trey Murphy, they're gonna deal Brandon Ingram. But moving on, next headline. This comes from FanDuel TV. Kevin Durant says that Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, and Bam Adebayo are lying about their heights after this viral Team USA photo. Is this news?
No. Not even slightly. It's tomfoolery is what it is.
It's not news because I think we've all kind of known with KD and the rest of the kind of big men in the NBA that someone's lying about their height.
Is KD slightly taller than Anthony Davis?
Yeah.
Oh, it's noticeable.
It's noticeable.
Significant.
Yeah,
I don't understand why KD is so like. Why does he care so much about what his height is?
He's not 6'9". Like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, if he's 6'9", then Joel Embiid's 6'10". That's what he's saying.
Like Joel, I'm pretty sure is listed at like 7'2". I mean, he's a very tall guy. So Kevin Durant, he's got to be 7 foot 7'1".
I wish it was LeBron back there instead of Tatum next to him. We could get a better.
Yeah. Because even Tatum.
Yeah,
what's
but
Tatum
LeBron's
listed? I know Jason Tatum.
Always.
Let's see. What's Jason Tatum listed at? He's listed at 6'8".
No shot. He's 6'8". Then he's like 6'2".
Yeah.
Next to KD, bro.
Next headline. This comes from ESPN and Brian Windhorst. The Cleveland Cavaliers are expected to reach a max agreement on an Evan Mobley extension soon. Is this news?
Yeah, that's a franchise-esque player reaching a max. I think it's
Franchise
I was about to say I cringe at the franchise S because he hasn't really played it outside of like the playoffs, but like he does
How?
kind of deserve the max
he's your
because
franchise defensive anchor. That's what he's there.
that
to do.
doesn't mean franchise player.
He is also well. I mean, he is also currently the second or third best player. He's currently he's not the franchise player.
No, that's why I said
I-
franchise-esque because Donovan Mitchell's the franchise player.
Yeah.
Struggling to decide whether I'd rather have Brandon Ingram or Evan Mobley.
Go. Get out.
Interesting.
If Mobley can play like he did in the playoffs last year, he is like for sure our second best player, and I will agree that he's a franchise-esque player. But if he played like he did for most of the year, playing as our third or fourth best player, sorry.
Then
You're gonna
Yeah,
pay him
probably
based on the playoffs because with this current team,
Yeah, that's what you're doing with Ingram.
Huh?
That's literally what you're doing with Brandon Ingram.
Yeah.
Okay, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
You were just saying not to pay Ingram because of his playoffs, and now you're saying pay Mobley because of his playoffs.
It makes no sense, Jackson.
What? I'm saying you pay Ingram based on how he played in the playoffs. That's how I like. What?
So you're saying pay both based on their playoffs?
It's the same argument with Jamal Murray, honestly, that you're making right now. Jamal Murray doesn't play that well in the regular season. Doesn't even play a lot in the regular season. He got his bag because of how well he plays in the playoffs.
Okay, so Evan Mobley, he's a tricky player, because of course this really all depends on if he deserves a max. It really depends on how Kenny Atkinson works with this team because that's really what they're banking on. Because Evan Mobley can make that jump now that he has an actual offensive coach. I think that's what this whole team is banking on. That's why they are going to run it back with the same core players for the most part. But it's at the time of his contract where you do need to give him an extension. And when you look at his draft class, Cade Cunningham, Scotty Barnes, Franz Wagner all got max extensions. You have to give Evan Mobley a max extension. You just have to.
I'm not saying you don't play him or pay him because I want him to stay. He has that potential, and I want to see it with an actual offensive coach now. So I think he can make that jump. But I'm telling you, as soon as if he starts playing like he did for most of the season, for this season, at least me as a fan, I'm going to be incredibly upset.
Yeah,
That's a 5-year marriage.
Especially since there's another guy on the roster like Darius Garland who didn't have the best year either, who's also on a max. So they both are under pressure to need to step it back up. Two things I will say with Evan Mobley. First, at the worst, he's an all defensive caliber player. He's one of the best defensive players in the world. You can't. That's undeniable. Second thing, I know everyone, myself included, has been saying the whole time that Evan Mobley needs to get a 3-point shot to really evolve this team and as an offensive player. I've started to actually steer away from that because I think that regardless of if he gets a 3-point shot, teams are still going to live with him hitting threes. That's just kind of how it is. They'll leave him open. I think that what's more important is kind of what Zion has started to do, and that's get a better handle and become a better playmaker. Because the reason why we're saying like Jared Allen could work with the Pelicans when Zion isn't the best shooter, kind of similar to Mobley, it's because Zion can make plays with the ball in his hands. You can live with him not being the best 3-point shooter if you're able to make plays. I think that if Evan Mobley can become a better ball handler and actually be the player that the Cavs can run their offense through, that's huge. That's way bigger than a 3-point shot, in my opinion. Because even last year, he was 37% from three. I don't know if it can get much better than that.
Yeah,
That's a solid point. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If he can also develop a better mid-range shot too, that would help a lot.
Yeah, he's got a clean looking shot too. Like it looks pretty solid. It's just got to get more reps. And he was injured a decent part of last year too. The Cavs, it was just a weird season for them last year.
Yeah,
it was a weird season for a lot of people.
His jump shot,
that's why
uniform looks like Triple J, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely could. It just stinks that like the Cavs had such a weird season, but that's all we kind of have to go off of for the next couple months until we see them with a new coach, where it could be completely different next season. But hey, that's how it is for the Cavs and for a lot of other teams. Final headline of Is This News from Podcast P. We're a little late on this, but Paul George talking about his point of view of the free agency and the whole contract negotiations with the Clippers. He thought of the LA Clippers contract offers as disrespectful. Is this news?
I think it is because it's coming from the source, like from the main source that like the story's on, I guess, if that makes sense.
Nick, what do you think about this?
It's not often you get to pull back the curtain and peek behind to see like what the details are. What does the player feel about the offer that was made? It is most certainly news because it's really a cool perspective to hear. And it's news for another reason because we found out Steve Ballmer and the Clippers front office are some real cheapos.
I personally, just because my thought process on it is, I think we talked about it before when it happened, is Clippers shouldn't have paid him because you're going to handcuff yourselves if you pay Kawhi and Paul George that kind of money, and both of them are pretty injury prone, especially going into their late 30s. But Paul George also deserves this kind of last contract because he played great. So, like, for me, I look at it as like as a basketball move. Like, Paul George deserves the money, so it can't be really disrespectful because they still offered him a 3-year deal. They just couldn't handcuff themselves. I'm surprised he doesn't have that kind of self-awareness, I don't think.
First, they offered him a 2-year deal.
This might be
two for $60 was the initial deal. That was crazy.
That is disrespectful.
Yeah,
I tend to agree with that. I didn't hear that part. I remember the 3-year deal that he was offered. I did not hear that. That is okay.
He went through it on his podcast.
It was their first offer. Like their very first offer was 2 for $60, which to me, it seems like from the get-go, kind of like you're saying, Joey, the Clippers didn't want to handcuff themselves. So that was the first thing they offered. It seemed to me that they really didn't care to keep him next year, but they didn't want to not offer him anything. So the thing with this that you get, I mean, this doesn't happen a whole lot, as you said, Nick, where we get to see the perspective from a player. But with that, you have to keep in mind that you're only going to hear the player's perspective, and there are a little bit of unanswered things to me. So Paul George takes the 2-year $60 as being disrespectful. So he wanted the Clippers to extend him the same deal that they gave to Kawhi Leonard, which was 3 years, $152 million. And that is what the Clippers offered him, about 3 years, $150 million. They gave him the Kawhi Leonard offer. Paul George said, no, I want either a no trade clause or a 4th year. So he wanted more. He did not just want the Kawhi extension. He wanted more than Kawhi. He wanted the money. And the Clippers, from their standpoint, it's like, we're not giving you a better deal than Kawhi Leonard. We're just not. So Paul George, he ends up going really. So we know he can say whatever he wants. His preferred options would have been to stay in LA for more money to be around home, or that sign and trade option to Golden State. Those would have been his first 2 options. Because the Clippers didn't do that, he has to settle for number 3, Philadelphia. So really, he wanted the money. That's really what he wanted the most. It wasn't about him wanting the same deal as Kawhi. He wanted the money.
I have a controversial take on this. It's, I think they should have. I really think they should have given him the 4th year. Just looking at what they gave up to get him, to land him. I mean, they gave up their whole future. I mean, they literally gave up an arguable top 5 player in the NBA.
They gave up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Danilo Gallinari, who was great at the time, and control of 7 first-round picks when you include the unprotections and pick swaps.
Mm-hmm. And all that just to not re-sign him, like even I feel like because he's younger than Kawhi, like he's less injury prone than Kawhi, I think, and isn't he also a little young? Or he might be. Actually, he's 1 year older, isn't he?
Yeah, I think Kawhi's 33 and Paul George is 34. But
they were one draft class apart from each other. Paul George is 34
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard, if I can Google his name. So Paul George is 34. Kawhi Leonard is 33. So Paul George is a year older.
But I mean, I understand like not wanting to sign as a 34-year-old going into his 38-year-old season.
Yeah.
I can understand not wanting to have to pay him all that money, but also what you gave up for him, I feel like you have to. I feel like you have to. I don't know.
It's
Well,
interesting.
you don't have to, and they didn't.
I think that the Clippers, I mean, if they had Kawhi and Paul, if they had the same core at 37, 38 years old, I mean, they wouldn't be in the best position. I think that, I mean, the fact that the Clippers did lose him for nothing kind of stings a little bit. Like, apart from Paul George, playing in your same division and not wanting to play him 4 times or whatever, or not wanting to send him where he wants to go, I feel like a Warriors package that would have included probably a Kuminga or a Moody, some young talent with a first round pick at least. That's better than losing him for nothing. That's where I think the Clippers kind of were bad with this, is that they lost him for nothing.
I'm not gonna lie, Clippers might be the GFF for the West. Listen, man.
Okay, but realistically, where would you guys have picked the Clippers to finish if they did re-sign him?
Same as this year, probably.
Probably the same. They're not getting better without or with them if they keep.
Yeah,
them.
I mean, here
But
where
they
is
got
their,
way worse without
their
him.
team? This is their team heading into next season. They're replacing him with Derek Jones, and they've continued the 76ers Clippers complete like full roster swap.
Where's
Eventually,
Bones Highland? Damn it.
Yeah, seriously.
Bones Highland. Chris Dunn will be over here more than Bones Highland.
You got some nerve.
Westbrook will probably also be gone. They're actively looking for him to get.
Yes, he's just on it because he's still currently on the roster.
Yeah.
But
Guys, they're gonna trade Westbrook and 3 firsts for Paul George.
Hey, they don't have any firsts anymore. They trade them all away. No,
Yeah,
I will say for I know there are a lot of fans that are now, after Paul George leaving, they're kind of clowning the Clippers for making that deal. Like, oh, you traded your whole future for him to do. Any team would have done that to be in the position that they were. It's kind of like the Brooklyn Nets. Anyone would have traded to get Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden all in their primes on the same team. Any team is going to do that. It just didn't work out.
That's 3 people. That's not one person giving your whole.
I mean, the Clippers did that to get PG and Kawhi. Kawhi wasn't going to sign there unless they also got Paul George. So it was for both of them.
To be fair, I don't like the comparison to the GFF of the Brooklyn Nets, because not only you're talking about the them getting KD, Kyrie, and Harden. Let's not talk about how the Brooklyn Nets almost threw away their entire future for a past prime KG and Paul Pierce.
That's true. The fact that
I'm just saying
I'm just saying that any team would have done that.
Yeah. I want you to put some respect on the GFF, please.
Oh,
they got that. They deserve that name.
I guess
they didn't get it, but
they didn't get it by mistake, Nick. You're right.
Right.
You're right. They've got it for a longevity of success. I guess not success. 11 years. When was that trade made, actually? I now want to find when that official trade was made, because it might be like 11 years to the date. Now that we're in July.
So much worse because
that'd be wild.
Tatum and Brown are the people they got back.
Yup.
It just makes them look so
well, with this, I guess there's another sort of sub headline here that Kawhi Leonard was trying to get Paul George to come with him to the Raptors in that offseason. He was going to try to have Paul George get traded to Toronto. Ultimately, the Clippers threw their whole future to the Thunder, so the Thunder had the better package, or the Clippers had the better package. But this was reported at the time too. Like, after this happened, there were reports that the Thunder were going to trade both Westbrook and Paul George to Toronto to pair up with Kawhi Leonard.
Would have loved that.
Yeah.
What would that package have looked like?
I'm pretty sure that was a thing. I'll find
probably
it.
Pascal Siakam, a bunch of firsts.
Kyle Lowry, probably.
Dude, it would have just been the whole ocean. Like,
they probably would have thrown in Vancouver as well.
Honestly.
Drake, this is from the same day of the trade from Woj. Raptors rejected Russell Westbrook, Paul George for Pascal Siakam trade. So Toronto
up?
declined it.
2 for 1? Why would they decline that, bro?
Bring out the whole ocean.
Bring out the whole ocean, man.
Give him like half of British Columbia.
Well, I mean, from the Raptors, they
power.
probably feel like we just won a championship with this core. Why would we trade all those core pieces away
That makes
immediately? But
sense.
you're also losing Kawhi. So
We do not care.
They gained TikTok sensation
We
Scotty
do not
Barnes.
care.
They gained Scotty Barnes and the power of friendship. That means more.
Yes.
And they
Think about
don't have
though, if you're
Pascal.
the
They
Raptors-
don't have. Do they even have anybody from that core anymore?
not anymore. I don't probably no one from that championship team now that OG and Pascal were traded.
That's
But if that trade happened, they would have had Westbrook, Paul George, and Kawhi, which I guess they were all on the same team the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But all in their prime. This is MVP G13. Kawhi when he's getting compared to Michael Jordan. And Kevin Durant was leaving the Warriors that summer anyway, so they could have been the primitive favorite. Them versus LeBron and AD in the Lakers, because that was still going to happen. That would have been a fun sort of battle there.
That would have been crazy pop for that matchup.
That would have been wild. I got a mini headline for What If News that I just got from Bleacher Report. What do you think about the Suns being the first team in NBA history to go over $400 million in payroll?
Oh,
after signing Josh Okogie.
Won't be the last.
They are $223 million for their actual payroll and $198 million in projected tax.
that's insane. So this team, we kind of talked. Nick, you mentioned the 76ers. You didn't want them to do what the Suns did last year. The Suns have they've redeemed themselves slightly this summer. They've made a couple of good signings. They have an actual point guard now, Monte Morris. They actually have a point guard on their roster. They have Mason Plumlee, a veteran backup center now, instead of having Drew Eubanks. This team is going to be better. Now, people are going to be like, this is just Brooklyn Nets 2.0. No one's going to believe in this team because of that. But on paper, this team is still they're not bad. They're not horrible by any means. They were still very good offensively with their guys missing time, a lot, which still could happen next year.
You know who else got better? They're good buddies, the Timberwolves.
A lot of teams in the West.
They're good buddies, the Timberwolves.
A lot of teams in the West did get better. That's why it's tough. But at least the Suns got better as well. So, I mean, they should be in a better position than last year, hopefully.
They're giving the whole entire salary that Arizona as a state is allowed to pay to Bradley Beal.
I smell playing tournament.
Yeah, maybe they'll be the favorites to win the in-season tournament.
No, playing tournament.
No, playing.
Oh, to make the play-in tournament?
Come on, Miles. Get your head in the game.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that is all of our news. You guys have anything else before we get out of here?
No.
I do. I have one thing that I want to get off my chest.
Oh,
and that's a happy birthday to my baby girl, Dallas.
Yay.
Yay.
The unofficial official mascot of the Runnin the Paint podcast.
Facts.
My baby girl, Dallas, is 4 years old today.
Oh, Dallas. Happy birthday. Glad that we could get a cameo on the podcast because we've gotten to hear her be pretty vocal at certain points.
Oh, yes.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Again, the NBA 2K25 Summer League tipping off tonight. Here is the schedule for over the weekend. We will be back on Tuesday to go over some of these games and maybe some more headlines coming up. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Peace.